Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Chelsea and today I'm going to be making a video on what it is like to work in Lapland in Finland as one of Santa's helpers. So I will quickly say before I start this video, if you have any children around, maybe don't watch this video right now unless you have headphones in. We wouldn't want to go spoiling any magic now, would we? Last year in 2022, in December, I worked as an elf guide for Lapland safaris, and I'm just going to share with you basically everything about the job. All the questions that I had before I went, I was spending a lot of time researching on YouTube videos and I couldn't find anything like related to what on earth I was going to be doing. I even asked, but I still wasn't 100% certain on like what the job actually was. So I just wanted to make a video sharing all of the answers to the questions that you might have if you're thinking about, or if you are going to be working in Lapland as one of Santa's elves this year. Also, I just wanted to give a quick disclaimer. I'm not sponsored by Lapland Safaris at all. Everything in this video is from my own experience working with them, and all of the opinions are my own as well. So in this video I'm going to be covering what is an elf guide, and like what actually is the job, where is the job, how you can do it, so like the application, the interview, the visa process, everything like that, what the housing is like, what the pay is like. And then I will give you a sort of overview on a week in the life of an elf guide, and then things that would be helpful to bring with you, things that there are to do in Rovaniemi specifically. Obviously I don't know the other locations, but if you are looking into Rovaniemi, maybe I can help you decide if that's the place for you. And then finally finish off with some frequently asked questions. I do get quite a few questions over on Instagram, people asking me about the job and whether it's suited for them, what my thoughts were, so I'm just going to give you some answers to those questions if I haven't answered them in the rest of the video. I'd also like to apologise in advance for the length of this video. I know it's going to be long. I have a lot to talk about and I am someone who's very prone to rambling, so I am sorry about that. But finally we're going to get into the video now. Okay, so what is an elf guide and where is the job? So an elf guide is one of the many jobs that elves can do in Lapland, and it is where they are showing tourists, people from specifically with Lapland safaris, they're from the UK, who are on holiday in Lapland, and they will be shown around, they will entertain them, they will make sure that the guests are in the right place at the right time, just guiding them through their holiday, making sure that everything goes smoothly, and also just that they are having a good time. An overview of the duties is things from entertaining them on the bus rides to making sure that they're at all the activities at the right time, making sure that they're picking up their clothing, bringing them to their hotels and to the airport, all while keeping the guests entertained. An elf loves to sing, play games, tell stories, tell jokes. Not every elf likes to tell jokes, but some do. Stardust the elf was the elf that I was very good friends with when I was in Lapland, and she really enjoyed playing games with the guests. On the bus she would play things like I Spy and the alphabet. She would sing Christmas songs with them, play lots of other fun games that can be played on the bus, and she also really liked teaching elf language, which is very similar to Finnish. And then outside she would love to get involved in snowball fights with the children and things like that. So
right, Flipper, have you ever seen a penguin come to tea?
Every elf is slightly different as to what they like to do, but that's just some things that Stardust the elf like to do. If you're working for Lapland Safaris, the job is going to be of course in Lapland in Finland. There are several different locations that you might be placed at. You can give your preference as to where you would like to be placed, but it's not going to be 100% guaranteed that you're going to get that location, but you can let them know. For example, I said that I would prefer to be in Rovaniemi, and then that's the one that I got, so they do take your choice into consideration as well. Okay, so how can you become an elf guide? So the first thing that you're going to want to do is, if you choose to work for Lapland Safaris, you're going to want to go on their website, which is laplandstaff.fi, and you're going to go to wherever it says which jobs there are, click on elf guide and apply. In the application they're going to ask you to tell them about yourself. So whatever it is you like doing, tell them, or what jobs you've had in the past that might be relevant experience. So do you like performing? Have you been a performer in the past? Do you like acting? Have you done any kind of acting? Have you done drama at school or been in any school productions? Anything that is kind of acting or improvisation, that can definitely help. And then have you been a TUI rep or a holiday rep? Because it's a very similar idea, like you're a guide. So if you have done any guide work, if you've been a tour guide of any kind, let them know. Have you been an activities leader, or have you worked as an elf somewhere else? Do you love Christmas? Because that's a big part of the job. If you love Christmas, it's very helpful because you are going to be listening to Christmas songs for 4 weeks straight. So hopefully you like Christmas songs and you're going to be singing them all the time. So if you like Christmas, definitely tell them that. Tell them a little bit about yourself in general, and then just say that you love Christmas, you love entertaining people, and I reckon you'd stand a pretty good chance. There is a hobbies section on the application page. I just had a look at it today, and I would just state any hobbies that you have in general, but then also if specific ones can be linked to the job, then definitely point that out, or definitely put those ones first. So if you like acting, dancing, singing, if you can play an instrument, there is an elf that plays the guitar there. So if you can play the guitar, then they might take that into consideration. You probably wouldn't do that, but it's worth mentioning. Do you like writing creative stories? Because elves love to tell stories. Can you speak any other languages? I think that might actually be a separate question, but you can also put it in the hobbies. If you like learning languages, mention any languages that you have tried to learn or know a little bit of. So also, from having had a look at the application form, I don't remember this being an option last year because I feel like I probably would have done it, I don't know, but there is now an option to add a video. Maybe it was an option last year and I just didn't see it or couldn't be bothered, I don't know, but I would definitely recommend sending in a video if you have the time to make a video. Literally just tell them about yourself in the video, but when you're doing it, make sure that you're like smiling and that you look friendly and approachable, because no one wants a grumpy elf. So show them that you're smiling and that you're happy, and maybe even like use your hands to like say things, so like just make yourself big and open rather than like closed off. And sorry, I've just touched my mic. Rather than just like closed off and a bit like sad, or like, hi, I'm Chelsea. I think I'd make a good elf because I like speaking to people. Like, that's not gonna send a good impression. You gotta be like, hi, I'm Chelsea. I think that I would make a good elf because blah 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 blah. Just smile throughout the video, and because elves smile, elves are so happy, elves are living in a winter wonderland, so make them see that you can do that. So as I mentioned a little bit before, you are going to have the option to state if you want to work in a specific place in Finland. You don't have to. I think you can leave it blank or say that you don't really care. But if there is a specific location that you would like to work in, now is your opportunity to tell them. So if you don't really know what to do, I know Levi is a popular place. I would personally suggest Rovaniemi just because that's where I went and I absolutely loved it. It is a beautiful little city. It's a very small city, but it's amazing. I loved it. It's beautiful. You have a high chance of seeing the Northern Lights. I can say that, but I can't because during November and December it is very cloudy because obviously it's snowing a lot. So if there's a clear sky, there is a high chance of seeing the Northern Lights in Rovaniemi, so that is a good place to go if you want to see the Northern Lights. I think, to be honest, most places in northern Finland you'll have a high chance of seeing the Northern Lights. I think they'll also ask you about your availability, either in your interview or in the application. The availability that you need is, obviously it's going to be slightly different dates, but I flew over there I think on the 19th or 20th of November, and then I flew home on the, well, I flew home on the 1st of January, but I left Rovaniemi on the 29th of December, so you don't have to stay there until, they say that the end of the contract is the 8th of January. You don't have to stay there until then, and I think the last like official, the last shift that you have to be there for is the 26th of December, so as long as you leave like on the 27th of December or in the evening of the 26th of December, I think. Obviously double check that before you book your flights, but one of my friends, I'm pretty sure she left on the 26th. Yes, as long as you're available up until the 26th of December, then you're going to be fine. But there is a New Year's Eve party that sounded pretty fun, and so yeah, if you're free up until the 1st of January, that's even better. Okay, so then for the interview, I had a phone interview. I'm not 100% sure if it's going to be the exact same thing. They might want to do a video call with you now, but my one was just over the phone. In the interview, I can't remember the exact questions that they asked. They're probably just regular interview questions, but make yourself seem friendly, make yourself seem outgoing. Don't give one-word answers, because an elf wouldn't give a one-word answer to a question. So make sure that you're able to show them that you can talk. Elves aren't quiet. Elves never sit in silence, so just show them that you can also do that. And then for the visa, if you are not a European Union citizen, that is okay. At least for Lapland Safaris, you do not have to be an EU citizen, just as long as you can apply for a work visa for Finland. So the work visa process was so easy. It's the easiest application process for a visa that I've ever gone through. I didn't need to go to an in-person appointment in the UK. They did that when we were in Finland. So online it was just very, very quick and simple. Filling out the form, you pay for it, it's 60 euros I think. And then once that's done, then it can be approved. I think it can take up to 3 months, but I think they were all done pretty quickly. Mine took, I think, about a month. One of my friends, I'm pretty sure she said that hers was approved like the next day. So yeah, it can be done quite quickly as well. Yeah, and then once you arrive in Finland, in that first week, they'll take everybody who needs the visa to the visa office. They'll help you fill in all of the forms with like the addresses and everything that you need as well. They'll send you the information that you need from home, but also in person they'll just tell you everything that you need to write. So it's very easy, they're very helpful with it. They'll book you the appointment and you'll all go together and sort out your visa. So it's really easy. Unfortunately, they don't reimburse the visa cost. At least they didn't last year. I don't know if they're going to change that in the future. Maybe if you do it, they'll have changed that. But as far as I'm aware, we had to pay for it ourselves, which was a shame. I'd say that with that, and then they also don't reimburse your flight cost. Obviously you do make the money back pretty quickly, but I'd say that the fact that they don't reimburse the flight or the visa are the two downsides of working for this company specifically. I don't know if other companies reimburse it or if they're all the same, but I would say that those are probably the two downsides. So moving on to housing, they do provide you with housing. You do have to pay for it. It's very cheap though, so I think it ranges from about 150 to 200 euros per month, and that's including the bills as well. So it's a really good price. And I think mine was 175 euros per month, and there were 4 of us living there. So yeah, it will automatically be taken out of your paycheck at the end. The house sizes are anywhere, I think, from like 3 people to 6 people. I don't think that there were any bigger than 6 people. It's really not that bad. There is the possibility to have a roommate though, so if you're not comfortable with sharing a room, then definitely let them know. I don't think it's ever going to be 100% guaranteed that you're not going to have a roommate, but if you really aren't comfortable with it, then they will take that into account and try and get you a single room. I think you can get your own accommodation, or if you know a family member or someone who lives there, you can stay with them. You don't have to stay at the Lapland Safaris housing, but it makes life so much easier if you do. So they do provide you with all the necessities. You have a bed, you have bedding, you have towels, you have all like the kitchen utensils that are provided. Obviously like tables and chairs and everything are all provided. Some buildings for the apartments do have washing machines, others don't. So the ones that are further away tend to have the washing machines, and the ones that are closer to work tend not to. So I was lucky. I was in a building that was only a 10-minute walk to work, but we didn't have a washing machine. So yeah, but then my friends who were a 30-minute walk to work, they had a washing machine in their building, so it made life easier for them from that point of view. But then they had to walk 30 minutes every day, so there are like pros and cons to each of the houses. I don't think you get to choose. You could probably request, like state, I would like to be in one closer to work. Obviously I don't, like, I'm sure everyone would probably say that if they knew, so I don't know if they'll listen to you if you say that, but I'm sure that they'll try. If your building doesn't have a washing machine like mine didn't, you can use the Lapland Safaris washing machines in their building for free, so that's absolutely fine. I think the washing machines, if you have one in your apartment building, I believe they're free as well, but I'm not 100% sure because obviously we didn't have one. And so I would just take my clothes to work with me and then stay for like an hour afterwards to wash everything. They do have dryers as well if you want to dry your clothes there, or you could take them home and they provide a clothing dryer rack. If you do want to see a tour of the accommodation, I'll link it up in the corner so that you can watch it after this. If you want to see what the accommodation that I stayed in was like. I did have a couple of issues with it at the beginning, which I obviously showed in that video because it was me moving in whilst giving the tour, so you will see the issues that I had, but honestly, like, they weren't bad and they fixed them straight away. So I had like a leak under the sink, they fixed it straight away. My fridge wasn't turned on, someone came the next morning and they switched it on for me because I couldn't figure out how to switch on, and neither could the girl who showed me to the accommodation. I think that was about it. So you will see in that video that I did have some issues, but they were fixed straight away. And honestly, I think the accommodation was great. It was bigger than what I had in Paris when I was working in Disney, so I was more than happy with the accommodation. It had a big closet space, so there was plenty of space to put all my things. The bed was comfy. I was very lucky and I got a double bed because I arrived first, so if you can arrive first then you get first choice of your bed in the apartment. I think I arrived the day before they suggested us to arrive. You can enter the accommodation a little bit early as well, so that's also helpful. The accommodation is very basic, but it's everything that you need. It's got heating. Ours was very warm all the time, so I was never cold when I was at home, which was nice. So yeah, the accommodation was, honestly, I think it was great. There was plenty of space. Some people that I was living with did complain about it, just because to them it was small, but honestly, like, I lived in a box when I was in Paris, so this was more than acceptable for me. And I mean, don't go with high expectations. If they're providing you accommodation that is this cheap, it's obviously not going to be a penthouse, you know, like, it's obviously not going to be the most luxurious accommodation. So as long as it provides you with everything that you need, I think that's all that you should expect. So other things that you can borrow from Lapland Safaris, other than obviously like everything that's provided in your accommodation, you can borrow their overalls that they give their guests whenever you need. So I used these to go snowboarding because I didn't have like a ski jacket and ski trousers. So you can borrow their overalls if you want to go skiing or snowboarding and you don't have your own stuff. They also provide you with snow boots throughout your entire stay, so you can use them when you're working and when you're not working. You can also use your own snow boots though when you're working and when you're not working, of course. So yeah, if you prefer to use your own ones, then you're more than welcome to, but if you don't have snow boots and you don't want to buy any, then they will provide you with some, so you don't need to worry about that. You can also borrow like their gloves and scarves, like other warm things. They provide you with like snoods so that you can keep your like nose and mouth warm and your neck. Obviously you get scarves and stuff when you're working, but you can also use this snood because you go on like snowmobiles and stuff, so it gets very cold and you'll get very rosy, dry cheeks, so it's good to cover up when you're on those like fast moving things. Okay, so for the pay, I'm not going to tell you the exact pay because like obviously things like this change, but also I don't feel like they would appreciate me telling everybody. So yeah, I'm not going to tell you the exact pay, but I will say that it is like a minimum wage job. You're not going to make a fortune doing this job. I actually believe it's less than the minimum wage for the UK, but there isn't a specific minimum wage for Finland. However, on Sundays and bank holidays you get double pay, which is amazing. And then after 6 p.m. you get extra pay. I think it's like 1 or 2 euros extra per hour worked. So it adds up and it's a nice little bonus. So yeah, there are a few holidays while you're there. There's the Finland's Independence Day, there's Christmas Day, Boxing Day. I don't know if New Year's Day counts because I'm not sure if you actually work on New Year's Day or if it's New Year's Eve. I think it's New Year's Eve, so technically I don't think that counts. And I don't, maybe it goes past midnight. I'm not sure, I didn't work that event, so I'm not sure how the pay works for that. Yeah, with this bonus, you have the potential to earn quite a bit. Just make sure that you try and get extra hours on Sundays or any bank holidays. And it does add up. It's a very good bonus. So yeah, it's not the best pay, but also you do have like the opportunity to work extra hours, and you can, yeah, you can definitely earn a fair amount in this job if you put the work in. Most shifts are around like 6 to 7 hours. They did tell me on the phone interview that most days are like 10 to 12 hours. I think that's true if you are working with the other company. I'll explain this in a second. But with the one that I was working with, most shifts were 6 to 7 hours, and then there was the opportunity to work extra with like the extra excursions and stuff, so you could work like 10 to 12 hours a day, but it was like an optional addition onto your set time. And yeah, there are like evening shifts and stuff as well. There's also the opportunity for tips as well if you're a very good elf. This is like a complicated thing, so I'm not going to get too much into the tips. But yeah, if you're lucky, you might be able to get some tips as well. Okay, so now I'm going to get into a week in the life of an elf guide. So basically there are 2 companies that you could be partnered with. You're not working for those companies, but you're just working with them. And those are Sunway and Tui. So these are like the 2 companies that Lapland Safaris work with. So they, I guess, the guests book with them, and then Lapland Safaris provide the actual excursions and stuff. Now I will take you through a typical week in the life of Stardust the elf. So Stardust was working with Tui, so I can only speak from her experience, and I can only speak from the experience of working with Tui. I know that Sunway is a little bit different in like the schedule, but just in general, like all of the actual like tasks and things that they would do are very similar. So this like timetable is specifically Tui, but all of the things that you do are going to be for both, if that makes sense. So I'm going to start the week on a Sunday because Sunday makes the most sense for this timetable. Stardust the elf always had the earliest shift on airport days. That was fun. The earliest shift on airport days is 6:45 a.m. start. That is normally 15 minutes for you to get ready, and then you start 15 minutes later than your start time, if that makes sense. So at 6:45, Stardust the elf would be at the Lapland Safaris office. She would get ready and get everything that she needed for the day, and then she would head out at 7 a.m. to the bus. So shift starts times for airport days I think are any time from 6:45 to about like 10 a.m. I'm not 100% sure because Stardust was always the earliest working elf, so so I'm not 100% sure on the later shift time starts, but I definitely do remember those 6:45 a.m. starts. So Stardust would take a 30-minute bus ride to the hotel. Not all the hotels are that far away. This is the only one that is that far away. Most of the hotels are actually in the city, so it's only like a 5-10 minute bus ride. And then like from there is like 10 minutes or so to the Santa Claus village from the city. So most elves will have very short like journeys when they're on the airport days, but Stardust had the hotel that was so far away, so that's why she got up a lot earlier. Yeah, so she would get in the bus and they would drive 30 minutes to go and pick up the guests from the Winter Wonderland hotel. Probably normally around like 15 minutes spent like collecting the guests and putting them on the bus. And then it would take again 30 minutes to get back to the city. So from picking up the hotel guests, getting all their luggage and everything on the bus, back to the city, they would go straight to the Santa Claus village. So they'd normally arrive at the Santa Claus village about like 20 past 8, something like that, and then they would stay in the village for an hour. So this hour is like free time for the guests to do what they want in the village. It's also free time for the elves, so the elves are allowed to wander around, they're allowed to play and chat with each other, play with the guests, or if they would prefer they can go get a hot chocolate or I guess a coffee. Do elves drink coffee? And then after the Santa Claus village, Stardust would get all the guests back onto her bus and take them to the airport, which was about like, I say like a 5-minute drive from the Santa Claus village, is very close. And then she would say goodbye to her guests. During the airport days, the elves would be entertaining guests that are in queues at the airport, and just like talking to them, getting feedback and everything from them about their holidays, and then they would pick up their new guests. So Stardust would go get her bus set up, she would pick up the new guests and again take them to the faraway hotel. Again, as I say, most guests, the hotels were in the city or nearby the city, so it wasn't such long journeys, but yeah, Stardust had the faraway hotel, so she had to get them on the bus. While they were on the bus, she would tell them about like the week, give them the timetable, the health and safety, they would pick up their clothes and then they would go to the hotels, and that would be the end of the day. She'd get a lift back with the bus driver to the city. So yeah, on the bus journeys, as I mentioned earlier, they would just be playing games, singing songs, keeping the guests entertained. Sometimes the guests, obviously they've had a very early morning on these airport days, so they're sometimes really not in the mood to interact, so like the elves can just go around and like chat with people individually and just get them excited about their holiday and yeah, just talk to the kids about Christmas and things like that. So yeah, it's pretty easy. On Sundays, the shift would normally finish between 1 and 2 for Stardust. Obviously for other elves it would be later if they started later, but then because it was a Sunday it was double pay, so I would offer to help the clothing team in the afternoon, so I can't remember what time, but yeah, in the afternoon at some point, I would go and help out the clothing team, because obviously all the guests have dropped off their clothes, so they need to be sorted and cleaned and stuff. So I would offer to do that just because it's extra money, it's double pay, why wouldn't you? Mondays and Tuesdays were activity days, so half of the guests would have their activities on Monday and the other half on Tuesday, so you were with a different group on both of the days but doing the same thing. The start time was a little bit later on these days. My earliest start time was 7:45 in the morning and my latest start time was 9:15 in the morning for those activity days. I think there were a couple of later start times than that, but yeah, that was like the average start time was anywhere between, I guess, 8 and 10. Maybe not as late as 10. Maybe 9:30, I'm not sure. Honestly, I didn't ever really have late shifts. So activity days are on average around 6 hours long, and basically you'd pick up your guests from the hotel, entertain them on the way to the Winter Wonderland. So if you were with the Winter Wonderland guests, then it's like a 30-minute journey there just on your own. If you're with guests from the city, then you have to entertain them on the way there. And then, yeah, the activities for the day are like playing in the snow. You get some snow fun because obviously a lot of kids from the UK don't see snow very often. It doesn't snow so much in the UK anymore, so seeing that much snow is very exciting. So they like to play on like frozen lakes, play with snowballs, go sledging. There's like mini snowmobiles and stuff for them. Yeah, it's fun. There's Christmas music, you can dance around the whole time, or have snowball fights. And then there's like elf school, you'll take them to lunch. There's husky rides, snowmobile rides, meeting Santa, there's like a reindeer ceremony thing. And then they do like some decorating. And I think that's it. And then you'll take them back to their hotels, and that's the end of the day, unless you are asked to do an extra part of the day, which is like an excursion. So these are like optional extras that guests can book, which would be like husky rides or reindeers, I think snowmobiles, maybe Northern Lights tours. Obviously the Northern Lights tours are like late. And then there's like elf adventure days as well. No, but I think that's like a whole day thing rather than in the afternoon. But yeah, anyway, there's like some optional extra activities that you might be asked to do. You can say no if you don't want to do it. You don't have to work extra, but they're very easy, so I would. Stardust got to do a lot of the huskies, which was great because that was her favourite part of the day. It's very simple, like again, just entertain the guests on the way to the place. I actually can't remember how far away they were. I think they're near the Santa Claus village, so like maybe a 15-minute bus ride, but oh no, it took longer because you've got to go to multiple hotels to pick guests up, so you're probably on the bus for about half an hour. But like the people who work there will do everything. You're just like, the elves are just there, so yeah, you just get to drink berry juice, eat gingerbread cookies. Oh, you will eat a lot of gingerbread cookies in Finland. If you like gingerbread, that is, which I do, so it's dangerous. Extra excursions are very, very easy to do, so I'd recommend doing as many as you can. On Tuesday nights there would be a gala, so it's just like an evening party to say goodbye to the guests, where you're playing like games, doing Christmas quizzes, singing songs, whatever it is. The TUI reps organise this, or I guess Sunway. I don't know how it works with Sunway, but with TUI, the TUI reps, so like the people who actually work for TUI, they organise the whole thing. The elves are just sort of there as like extra help and extra entertainment, just there to like chat with the guests. While you're working, I forgot to mention this, but while you're working you do get food provided. The only days that you don't is airport days, because it's not really easy to do. So on airport days you'll provide your own food, but every other day that you're working they'll provide you with your lunch, or on the gala days you'll get provided with dinner as well. So that's a nice little bonus as well. You don't have to pay for so much food. So yeah, the galas tend to start, I think it was around like 6 or 7, so like the shift for this would probably start around like 5:30 or 6, something like that, and then go on until like 9 p.m. and then you'd take all your guests back to their hotel, so maybe you'd be like finished by 10 p.m. And then Wednesday it starts all over again. So Wednesday is another airport day, so you'll pick your guests up, take them to the hotel, and blah 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 blah. Thursday and Friday are activity days, and then Saturday is a full day of optional activities. So there's no like set activity days on this day, if that makes sense. And then you also have another gala on Saturday evenings. So most people will be working Saturday evenings, but not during the day. So I never worked on Fridays, and I had occasional Saturdays off. Or if I didn't have the whole day on Saturday off, I would probably just be in the evening. So it was pretty easy. On your days off, I highly recommend making the most of the fact that you are in Finland. It's a full-on few weeks, so you're probably going to feel like you want to have your rest, maybe have your rest on like a gala day during the day if you're not working. Like if you have the Saturday, maybe rest during the day on Saturday, but on like your full day off, like take advantage of it. Go see Rovaniemi or whatever city you're in, because like if you go to Lapland and you don't explore it, like why are you even there? It's just, I can't imagine having done it and not having taken advantage of my days off. I always went to like Santa Claus village or like museums in the area, or like I learned to snowboard. So yeah, definitely please take advantage of your days off, because otherwise why are you going all that way when you could just do the same thing in London or somewhere else in your own country? So that's pretty much it for like a week in the life. Yeah, if you do have like any questions on like specifics about that, like feel free to leave a comment and I'll try and answer it. Leave it in a comment so that other people can see it and read the answers rather than messaging me privately. If you think it's going to be something that I can't say publicly, then of course message me privately, but if you think it's just like a general question, then definitely leave it in the comments so that other people can see the answers to it, so I don't have to keep writing it out. Now I'm going to move on to what to bring to Lapland. Of course, you're going to want lots of warm clothes, so start off by getting a good coat. I got a coat that was long, and this was, oh my gosh, just amazing. I have never worn long coats. Oh my gosh, it was just amazing. My legs were warm the whole time. So I'd recommend getting a long coat. You'll probably look like you're wearing a bin bag unless you get a nice expensive one, but I got like a £40 one off ASOS, so I didn't spend a lot, but it was definitely good. I preferred wearing the long one a lot more than my short white one. Even though the white one looked nicer, I would prefer to look like a bin bag but be warm. So I wore this long coat all the time, so I would recommend getting a long coat if you have it in your budget, because it was just a lifesaver. I loved it. Warm clothes in general, you're going to want to bring lots of hats, scarves, ski gloves. I would definitely recommend ski gloves, because I mean when you're working, like you can use their gloves, but I personally really didn't like their gloves. I think that they were like leather, which I don't like, but just in general, like I felt that they like smelt. So I personally didn't like using their gloves, and I had my own ski mittens. I'd recommend the ski mittens over the gloves. They will even recommend you this because when your fingers are separated, they're going to lose heat much easier than when they're like together in the mittens. So ski mittens, again, if you have it in your budget. If not, then you can borrow their gloves. I would say when it's really cold, when you're working, you can wear your winter coat underneath your costume, but I wouldn't, because you can't take it off when you're on a bus. You can when you go inside like the hotel, you can go to the toilets and like take things off, but it's such a faff to do that that by the time you've taken it off, you've got to put it back on again because you're going to be going outside. So like I wouldn't recommend wearing a winter coat underneath the costume. I would recommend just layering up with fleeces, because especially as like a winter coat, like on top of that, you're probably going to have thermals and like a t-shirt and then your winter coat, maybe even like a fleece, I don't know. And then on top of that, you've got the costume. And you're going to be so hot when you get on the bus because there is heating on the bus and you can't take any of it off. So don't do that, because then you'll sweat and your clothes will be wet and then you'll go outside and you will be freezing. So don't do that. What I recommend, and what they will recommend to you as well, is just to layer up with fleeces. Looks better as well. You don't look like weird and puffy. Obviously if you're like working outside all day, then yeah, do that, sure. But if you're doing the elf guide thing, then just layer up with fleeces. I think I wore, I don't know, like if it was above 0 degrees, which I don't think it actually was, I probably only wore like one fleece on top of, like, I would always have a thermal layer and then like a long sleeve t-shirt, and then I would have the fleeces. So I would have one fleece, I guess, if it was above like 0 degrees. If it was below 0 degrees but above -20, I would just wear 2 fleeces, and then No, I'd probably say if it was like less than -16, I would wear 3 fleeces. But that was the most that I would ever wear. But it depends on how much you move when you're outside. I recommend dancing around all the time, having snowball fights all the time, just keeping warm and moving. Never, ever, ever stand still, otherwise you will freeze. Snow boots, are, as I said, are provided, but if you have it in your budget or you already own some, I definitely would bring your own. I personally really liked wearing my own snow boots when I wasn't working, just because like they're my own shoes, and when I'm not working I don't want to wear work stuff. But also just I didn't really like the work snow boots. I don't know if they leaked or like what the situation was, but my feet would often get wet when I was wearing them. But with my own ones, they wouldn't. It wasn't like every single time that my feet would get wet. Yeah, but I always wore their ones when I was working, and I wore my own ones when I wasn't working. But if you don't have the budget to buy your own snow boots, or you don't want to, don't bring them, because you can borrow some, and that's fine. One of my housemates used the work snow boots all the time and she was absolutely fine doing that. You probably won't wear other shoes, so it's probably not really even worth packing any others. Even when I went out in the evenings, like I would still wear my snow boots, like even in like we never went to like a nightclub, but like the bars, like there was a karaoke bar, and I would wear my snow boots. Like I literally don't think I wore another pair of shoes the entire time that I was there other than snow boots. Some people did have like regular boots, but they were like the Finnish people who are like used to this kind of weather. So you can bring like another pair of nicer boots if you want for like the evenings, but honestly like snow boots is enough. You probably won't wear trainers. I think I bought a pair of trainers, definitely. I don't remember wearing them. I think I wore them when I was in Helsinki just for the sake of wearing them, because I bought them. Your feet will probably get wet if you're wearing trainers and they'll get cold, so you're probably going to want just snow boots all the time. So if you want to go skiing, bring some ski clothes. There is a ski resort very close by. It's like, I think it was about 40 minutes walking from the city centre. So from the Lapland Safari's office, I think it was about 40 minutes to walk to Unesvara is the ski resort. You get an employee discount there, so if you do like skiing or snowboarding or you want to learn, it's definitely a good time to do it. So yeah, bring ski clothes if you have them. If not, then you can use the overalls from work. They recommended bringing a plain backpack. They recommended bringing a plain backpack to use while you're working. But then they also provided bags, so this was a complete waste of space in my suitcase. Obviously it's helpful to have a backpack, which I had like a normal backpack, but I bought an extra one that was plain and had no logos on it, but I didn't need it. So it's a waste of space in your suitcase. You don't need to bring a plain one. Like if you would prefer to use that than the bags that they provide, then sure, bring one, but you don't need it. I would recommend bringing a non-water-based moisturizer. So I have very dry skin when it's wintertime. Even in the summer I have dry skin. Dry skin and acne, it's great. But in winter it gets very dry and it will peel. So I had loads of skincare stuff to try and stop that. I actually made a skincare video when I was out there and I never posted it. Maybe if you want that, I'll edit it and post it, because I was fine with that skincare routine. Like my skin was like, my cheeks would get sore if it was really cold and they'd be very red, and it would get dry, but not that bad. So I can share that skincare routine if you would like it. Just leave a comment down below. But yeah, just in general, try and bring a non-water-based moisturizer. I actually got told that by someone who is Finnish who lives there, because the water-based ones will just freeze on your face and make you really cold. So if you get one that doesn't have water in it, like I don't know if oil-based moisturizer is a thing, but it's just something that's not going to freeze on your face, because then it's just going to make you even colder. Other than that, just like cozy clothes to wear inside, your passport, your visa. I do actually have like a packing video of everything that I took to Finland, so if you do want to watch that, again, I'll link it up in the corner so that you can watch it afterwards. So yeah, I think the only thing that I would change about what I bought was maybe I would just pack one more fleece, because I only bought 2 and then I ended up borrowing a third one for those really cold days. So yeah, I would maybe pack a third fleece. But other than that, everything that I packed was enough. I didn't feel like I forgot anything. So if you want to create a packing list based off of that video, then feel free to go and watch that after this. Okay, so then things to do in the area in Rovaniemi. So I'm gonna try and convince you to choose Rovaniemi as your location now. Rovaniemi, I believe, is the capital of Lapland. I could be wrong. They have the northernmost McDonald's in the world. there you go. If you like McDonald's, go to Rovaniemi. Because it is a city, there are like a fair few things to do there in comparison to I think the other places. Like you do have like a good amount of like shops and restaurants in the town centre. There are like bars and stuff, and of course you'll find all of this in the other ones, but it's maybe a bit more difficult or like further away. Maybe it's, I don't know how it is in the other ones. I can only speak for Rovaniemi, but you're pretty close to it all in Rovaniemi. And yeah, they have Santa Claus Village, which has loads of like nice places to go. Just like it's a nice Christmassy atmosphere. There's like a cocktail lounge, there's a coffee shop, and there's loads of Christmas shops with like Christmas decorations and stuff. You can meet Santa there, you can meet Mrs. Claus, you can go on a reindeer ride. There is Snowman World, which honestly like isn't the best, but it is kind of nice because they like rebuild it every year because it's made of snow, and then they like carve things into the walls, so it's like really nice to appreciate that. And then there's like a snow slide and really bad ice skating ring. I've made a video where I go there, so again I'll link that up in the corner if you want to watch it. It's honestly, it's not worth £28, but if you've got 28 euros to spare, then I would say go to Snowman World, but if you don't, it's probably not worth it. Also in Santa Claus Village there is like the post office, so you can send postcards to people from Rovaniemi, from Lapland, which is nice. You can order a letter from Santa for this Christmas or next year, and yeah, you can even I think send your postcards for next year, I think. So you can like send yourself a postcard for next year. I don't know, it's quite cool. Yeah, it's just a nice atmosphere in general if you like Christmas. On Christmas Eve, I don't think it's on Christmas Eve, I think it's on the 23rd. They have like a goodbye Santa send-off, because obviously he's got to get all the way over to like Australia, I guess, or Fiji, wherever the first time zone is, to deliver his presents, and they're way ahead of us. They have free buses from the city to Santa Claus Village. Normally I think it's between 3 and 4 euros. I think it depends on the bus that you get to get there like each way, or you can get like a round ticket for like 7 euros or something. I can't remember exactly the prices, but on this specific evening the buses are free. And then yeah, you don't have to spend anything when you're there, so it's like a nice free thing to do in Rovaniemi. There is the Unosvara ski resort, which I mentioned earlier. You do actually get a discount here as a Lapland Safaris employee. I'm pretty sure it's 50% off ski passes, like the ski lift and equipment rental, and then like I want to say like 25% off lessons. I can't remember exactly, honestly, but it's a good discount, so it's definitely worth it if you've never been before and you want to do some lessons. It's like a cheaper way to do it. I mean, you could probably get cheaper lessons elsewhere in the world, but like it's a nice place to do it. It's got beginner friendly slopes, and yeah, it's just go skiing. So you also get, as a benefit of being a Lapland Safaris employee, you get like, I think it's like 20 euros a month to spend on, I can't remember exactly what it is that you can spend it on. I think it's like a health and well-being benefit, so like you can spend it on like the gym or like something along those lines, but you can also use it at the Unosvara place. So yeah, I went one time and I think I barely spent any money because I had 40 euros, because you get 20 euros a month, and obviously you get it for November and December. So I had like 40 euros in this little account, and then I think we didn't have a lesson that day and we were just renting equipment. So I think I like literally didn't pay anything, which was nice. So you can use that there as well. That's another benefit of Lapland Safaris. You also get a discount in loads of like restaurants and shops around the area, so always ask if they take the discount. You also get like discounts on like the tours, so you can book a tour for yourself. That's something to do, like the Northern Lights tour. You can find the Northern Lights without booking a tour as well, so you can do it for free. I saw the Northern Lights opposite the road from the Santa Claus Village, so I just crossed the road. There's like a foresty area, which I think is a place that they do snowmobile tours. I don't know who that is. I don't think that's Lapland Safaris. Maybe it's a Santa Claus Village thing, I'm not sure. But in that forest there's like no artificial lights. Obviously it's like near some, so the lights weren't probably as clear as they could have been elsewhere, but just walking there, it was really easy to get to, and we saw the Northern Lights. They were very faint when I saw them. It actually just looked like a cloud because it was grey with my own eyes, and then when we took the picture, that's when it came out green. So yeah, I did get to see them, not really bright, but I did see them and it was opposite Santa Claus village. But I know that another good place to see them is behind the Arctica Museum, which is actually really close to where I lived, so it was a good location. I'll put it in on a map so that you can see exactly where that location is, but it's just like far enough away from the lights of the city that you can see the northern lights, of course if it's clear, but it's probably going to be cloudy most days that you're there, which yeah, sucks, but hopefully you get to see them at least once. So speaking of the Arctica Museum, I think that's what it's called, maybe I'm saying it wrong. Basically the Arctic Museum that's actually another benefit of Lapland safaris, is that you can use your discount there. So I think you get it free one time, and then after that I think you would pay if you want to go more than once, but you don't really need to go to a museum more than once in 6 weeks. It's not bad. I enjoyed parts of it, other parts of it I found boring, but you do with every museum, no? So yeah, it's free, why not? And then of course there's Lordi Square. So Lordi is like are they rock band from Rovaniemi who won or were in like Pop Idol or something. I can't remember the exact story of Lordi the band. But there's a square in Rovaniemi named after Lordi, so it's called Lordi Square, and in the square they've got like they put up like an ice skating ring, so you could do that. I didn't personally do it didn't look great, but you can go ice skating there if you would like. And then there's also a nice coffee shop that I used to go to there. It's just a coffee house. I think it's like a chain in Finland. It's nothing like, it's not like a, I actually thought it was like a local place for ages and then realized that it's just a chain. But yeah, it's just a nice part of the town to walk around and spend some time. They put up like a very small like Christmas market there. There's like, they have like Finnish soup that you can buy there and stuff, and yeah, it's a nice little place to go sometimes. Rovaniemi is very expensive, I will tell you that. I feel like the grocery shopping wasn't like crazy, it was like kind of what you would expect. I want to say that I spent like 30 to 40 euros each time that I went, and I went maybe 1.5 times a week grocery shopping. I don't know, like towards the end I started just buying things like as I needed it, because I had to walk past the shopping centre on my way back, which had like a big supermarket. I think it was the K Market was a good one. There are like other ones that are cheaper, but that one was just a big one which had everything in it. It's like down in the big shopping centre, the Rovaniemi shopping centre. I think the groceries were quite expensive. Like a lot of like the salad stuff was really expensive, I remember, and like just random things were really expensive. But they are good for vegan food and vegetarian food, so if you're veggie or vegan, they have great options. But yeah, like I remember a cucumber was like 3 euros and I was like, absolutely not. Also just in general, like the bars are expensive as well there. Like my friend spent 16 euros on 1 glass of wine. Like it was actually cheaper to buy a cocktail. I think I spent like 10 euros on the cocktail and she spent 16 euros on a glass of wine. There are cheaper ones, but like the first night that we were there, we went out for wine and we got... Okay, so now finally some frequently asked questions. The first one is, do I need to be able to speak Finnish? The answer is no, you don't need to speak Finnish. I went over there and I didn't speak a word of Finnish. Like I literally couldn't even say like hello and thank you. So I mean, you can try and learn the basics if you would like to, but you really don't need to. You'll probably learn bits over there. The main things that you would need it for is that elves like to teach their language, which is very similar to Finnish, so it helps to know the basics, like hello is moi, or hey, or tervetuloa, which you don't have to say the whole thing. No, that's welcome. What is it? Terve? I can't even remember, to be honest. My pronunciation is not great, so maybe like learn these words from someone else, but I will at least give you like basics and like write them on the screen. Goodbye, you can say like moi moi, or I think hey hey. Thank you is kiitos. Santa is jolopuki. Merry Christmas is hyvää joulua. Snowman, I think it was like lumioku. I can't remember. Snow is lumi. Husky is husky. Reindeer is, oh my god, what is reindeer? Begins with a P. Elf is tontu. Tontu is an elf. What is reindeer? Okay, I think I just went on Google Translate and like Boro is reindeer? Why didn't I remember that? And why doesn't that even like, why isn't I like, oh, of course I knew that moment. I feel like I used a different word. Boro. No, I think it is that. Anyway, yeah, just like learn the basics, learn those words that I just said, and you'll be fantastic. Knowing those words in Finnish is great if you're on a bus and you don't know what to talk about. Just teach your guests those words. They probably don't speak Finnish, and even if they do speak Finnish, they don't speak Elfish, so they don't know that the pronunciation of Elfish is slightly different to Finnish. So you're good, just teach them something along those lines and you'll be good. The next question is it too cold to be working outside? It can get cold. The coldest it was when I was there was minus 26 degrees, and yes, I was working outside that day, but you can layer up, and as long as you don't stop moving when you're outside, you'll be fine. Like when we did the snow fun, we were out there for like 45 minutes maybe, and I would just non-stop dance to the Christmas music. They're playing like all the like popular Christmas songs, like Merry Christmas everyone, Merry Christmas everybody, and I wish it could be Christmas every day, and like Driving Home for Christmas, and all of these like popular Christmas songs. So as long as you like dance along to them, you'll be warm. If you don't want to dance or sing, have snowball fights with other elves, with the guests. A nice tip is to team up with the kids against the adults, because then that way you stay warmer, because adults have a bit of a better aim than kids with snowballs. So you're probably not going to get so many snowballs to your face if adults are throwing them at you as opposed to kids throwing them at you. If kids throw snowballs at you, you will get them in your face. They will go down your top. It won't be so pleasant. So if you create a team of you and the kids versus the adults, you're good. Little tip there. Of course, like still have snowball fights with kids. Of course, don't aim for their face. Aim for like their legs. Yeah, basically just don't stop moving when you're outside and you should be fine. And there's always berry juice when you're outside, which is hot. So have some berry juice and warm up. It's delicious. Okay, so the next question is, I get car sick, can I still do it? Yes, you can. There are different options. If you get really car sick, then you don't actually have to be like a bus elf, so you don't actually have to entertain guests on buses, which is nice, because if you can't like be looking backwards while you're driving, then you don't have to do that. There are other jobs. These ones normally require you to be outside all day though, because you're like an activity person, so you'll be like helping out with the huskies, so you are outside all day. So you're probably going to get a bit colder, but at least you're not like entertaining guests in a car or in a bus, so you're not going to get car sick. If you're not really bad, and then you can still do the general elf guide job, but just ask them for like the shortest journeys for the hotels. Explain that you get car sick and that you can't like entertain guests for a 30-minute journey, because you will throw up. If you do get car sick, like you can hopefully as well, like for those longer journeys, be paired up with another elf so they can do like most of the talking. You can like help out where you can, but of course they're not going to make you ill. So if you do get car sick, just let them know and you can hopefully try and work around it. And then the next one is the job hard? And I will say, as long as you like interacting with people and you like Christmas, no, it's not hard at all. But if you hate working with guests, this is not the job for you. If you hate Christmas, this is not the job for you. If you are not into acting, this is probably not the job for you. I mean, of course you don't have to be like a professional actor to do this job, like I'm not saying that, but you could probably tell if it's for you or not. I would say that the hardest part of the job is actually getting the guests to listen to you and be on time for things. You literally just tell them that you're going to leave them behind if they don't show up, and you will leave them behind. So just tell them that and they'll be there. And if they're not, leave them. But obviously, I mean, there's certain times where you can't actually leave your guests and then they will be stranded, but make sure that they know that timetable. They know exactly it, like as long as you're doing your job properly, they should hopefully follow and it should run smoothly. I had some groups that were beautiful, they were amazing at listening to times, and then other ones that were horrendous and it was hell. So yeah, sometimes it's the guests. sometimes they're rude as well. Just smile and walk away if you can't deal with that. But yeah, on the whole, it's a pretty easy job. Also, as I mentioned earlier, going inside and outside in all of those layers so many times throughout the day is also difficult. And a lot of people get sick doing it, but it's not that long. So yeah. So my final thoughts are, if you are thinking about doing this job, I would say just go for it. Like, at the end of the day, the actual job is about 3.5 weeks. You have like a week and a half or so of training, and then you have like time at the end which you can stay and like enjoy the area and stuff. So I mean, I was there for exactly 6 weeks. You could be there a little bit longer, a little bit shorter. But the actual job, like with guests, is 3.5 weeks. It's really not a long time. And there's 7 groups of guests that you'll go through. So if you hate it, like, it's really not a long time. You can just like suck it up and do it. If you want to see Lapland, it's a great opportunity. It's like a once in a lifetime opportunity to see Lapland, work there. Not many people can say that they've been an elf guide in Finland, so it's unique. Looks good on other job applications in the future. They'll be like, oh, that's different. Tell me about that. And it's like the cheapest way to see Lapland. As I say, Lapland is expensive, so if you're being paid to go there and you're getting really cheap accommodation, you're getting like a lot of meals provided, it's a really good way to see Lapland for not a lot of money. There are a lot of ups and downs, as there are with every job. There are, like, it can be hard at times. There are early mornings or late nights or long hours, but they'll always give you the opportunity to say no to extra hours. They do care about their staff, so if you have a problem, they'll listen and they will help you. I do think that Lapland Safaris are a really good company to work for, and I would definitely work for them again. I'm not going to be around this year to work for them again, but one year in the future I would love to do it again. I absolutely love Finland. You've got like every sunset, every sunrise, you're gonna see it. It's beautiful. Like, I can't get over it. It's honestly stunning, and it will go so quickly, and you will also make some really good friends as well. So obviously you're not going to keep in contact with all of them, but there is still a girl that I keep in contact with now, and we're hopefully going to be meeting up soon. So yeah, like, you'll make friends and you'll have a good time, and hopefully get the same days off as your friends, which will be nice. Yeah, just explore the area. If you hate the job, you hate the job. It's not a long time, so I would say go for it, see how you do. Hopefully my video has helped you in deciding if this job is going to be for you or not. Honestly, I wasn't so sure about it before I did it, but then I did it, and on the whole I loved it. It was easy. It is, like, it's hard, but it's really easy. So it's so difficult to explain until you've done it. Yeah, it's not the most difficult job in the world, and at the end of the day you're literally there to sing Christmas songs and entertain people, so it's fun. If you're having a bad day, you'll probably turn it into a good day by having snowball fights and singing Christmas songs. So yeah, I hope that this video helped you in deciding if you would like to work as an elf over Christmas. Hopefully I haven't spoiled the magic for you too much. I hope you have an amazing day, and I hope you do decide to do this job and have a wonderful time there. Please do let me know if you do have any other questions in the comments. Feel free to check out my other videos from Finland. I will link the playlist in this video somewhere as well, so that you can watch all the videos, because I know that I was trying to watch as much stuff as I could possibly find, and there wasn't a whole lot of information on this specific topic, so I really hope that this video has helped you. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope it's really helped you decide if you do want to go to Finland. If you do decide to go, I hope you have an amazing time, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!